What is going on, YouTube? This is yours truly, ATUM-RE, coming at you guys with another video. Before we go in, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. Today's video is going to be 3 guns and run. I repeat, 3 guns and run. This is a challenge that was created by my main man, Eyes and Ears Tactical. I will put the hashtag in the video. If you'd like to participate, feel free. But the name of this video is based on the subject. If you had to bug out and you can only take 3 guns, what 3 guns you would take with you is basically the main course of this subject. And firearms are very heavy, very dense, so you can only take so many. And when you add ammo to it, that basically compounds the actual weight issue that you would have. Because if you bug out, you're going to have to take other essentials like food, clothing, water, batteries, things of that nature, flashlights. So you can only have a minimum of firearms and a minimum of ammo. So I want to get into the 3 firearms that I would actually use, and I will have a reason for every one of them. I want it to be not just because they look flashy or nice. Not about that. It's about the practicality of in the world, have to leave your house, bug out, only take 3 firearms. What would they be? Let's get into it. I want to say one thing to YouTube is you gotta make sure the YouTube cops don't get on you. All firearms are 100% safe. We're in a safe and a controlled environment. Did you get that, YouTube? All right, let's get into it. All right, so the very first firearm is going to be a handgun. I think it's going to be Glock 19. This is Gen 4, but it's a Glock 19. And I think every loadout of any kind of loadout, period, should have a firearm that is a handgun that is associated with it. Because you want to have a secondary weapon, and a pistol is something that you can keep concealed. It's just easy to access. But the reason I chose the Glock specifically, because I don't want to get too deep into that, is because Glocks are very reliable, and parts and accessories are going to be very, I wouldn't say easy to find, but they're going to be easier to find than any other firearm in that situation, because Glocks are way more mass produced than any of the other polymer striker pistols. They've been doing their thing since the 80s, and you can change slides. You can get stick mags like this Ford, with ease, triggers, lowers. There's so much you can do with Glocks. Because you can got so much access to accessories over the years. So that would be my reason for carrying a Glock. 9mm specifically would be my round of choice, and my reason would be because of the accessibility. But I understand that during these times, I'm sure everybody would probably be looking for 9mm. But this is what I've been shooting for many years. I've had this as my EDC weapon for over a decade now, so I have a lot of time behind 9mm, and I just like the fact that it's very reliable, very predictable. Know exactly what I'm going to get out of it, and it's just easy for me to find parts and accessories for a Glock over virtually anything that's not a 1911 or a Beretta 92 overall. Not the sexiest gun, not by far not my favorite gun, and I'm not a Glock hater or lover. But this is by far not my favorite gun, but it is going to be the most practical firearm that I would be able to walk out of the house with, that is a handgun. Alright, and I think every loadout should have a shotgun related to it, because shotguns can fill several different roles. For one, I can use this for a state defense if I'm held up in a cave or a cabin or anything like that. Close range with buckshot will basically knock anything down in North America with this here, with that stopping power. If I wanted to make it a limited rifle and use slugs and reach out to a little bit over 100 yards, I can do that as well. But the main course would be for bird hunting. Because shooting fowl that is moving with one projectile is very hard. I don't know if you've ever tried it before, but try it. Try shooting a bird out the sky with an AR-15 and let me know how it works out for you. That's why I like shotguns, because I can use bird shot, give me that spread, and it's going to give me high probability of knocking that bird out of the sky. whether it's a upland fowl or or shooting birds out of the sky. I would definitely recommend a shotgun, and I recommend a Mossberg 590A1 because it's very, very heavy, very durable. You have 8+1 capacity. Still safety, still trigger guard, still trigger. Ghost ring sight. You can put an optic on there if you want. You got your speed stock on the actual left and right. And I think again, it all comes down to accessories. With a Mossberg, anything in the 590 series is very, very mass produced. You're talking millions upon millions of these guns mass produced all across the country. So if I'm in a situation where I need to get a new spring or any other parts, I'm gonna probably have a much better chance of finding parts for this versus, let's say, one of those Turkish shotguns. Maybe an 870. You can find Wing Masters. But as far as a pump shotgun, I would say run out the house with a 590A1 or a 590 or a Mossberg 500. And if you're going to go semi-automatic shotgun, I would say a Benelli N4 because they're mass produced. And that's the way I look at it. Is it reliable? Is it mass produced? It actually fills the role that it actually needs to fill. And shotgun has a lot of roles. All right, so I would also, last but not least, a rifle. I'm going to get to a rifle. And that is going to be, believe it or not, an AR-15, and I will explain it. I like AKs better as far as appearances are concerned, but I just like the AR-15. The modularity part is going to be the kicker for me because basically I can have two different guns with this here. This one is favored in 300 Blackout, by the way. I just grabbed it because it was there. But you can do 5.56, which is the most common caliber. And what I like is that I can take this upper off of here and slap on another upper and basically have two different guns. So I like the modularity of the AR-15, and also with the AR-15, when with the modularity between 300 Blackout and let's say 5.56, 223. You almost have three guns in one because, let me explain it. 300 Blackout, you have supers, which is equivalent to the ballistics of, let's say, an AK. And then you have subs, which is closer to, let's say, 45 ACP. And then you have your standard, zip rhymes, I call them, which are fast, 223, 5.56, the standard AR-15 rounds. So you can just basically get nearly three guns out of one. So that would be the biggest advantage of an AR-15 over, let's say, an AK, because with an AK I'm going to be limited with my range, even though I'm probably not going to be fighting anyone outside of 200 yards. But if I need to stretch out past 200 yards, I'm going to be able to do that much more efficient with an AR-15. I'm going to be more accurate with an AR-15. You can trick yourself and convince yourself all you want, but an AR-15 is going to be 100%. I'm not going to say 100%, but it is going to be much more accurate than, let's say, an AK. You must practice with anything you use, but any shooter that put their hands on an AK, an AR-15, and have them zeroed in at the same exact zero, I can assure you that they're going to be more accurate with an AR-15. And again, as far as scavenging for parts, it's just going to be much easier for me to scavenge for parts. And as far as durability, those myths have died many, many years ago. AR-15s are mass produced, and they are very, very, very reliable and nowadays, and you're just going to be able to find, these everywhere because, like I said, I have an upper up in here. I have an Aero Precision upper that's chambered 223, 5.56. Slap that right on here, and I have another gun. And it's going to be lighter than the AR-15. And then, like I said, it's the versatility and the modularity and all the different things I can do. Easier for me to mount accessories on it as far as lights, your lasers and things of that nature. Most of these AR-15s come good to go when it comes to adding accessories. I love the AK. They're beautiful. As far as appearances are concerned, if you're asking me what's my favorite gun, it's going to be an AK over an AR-15. But as far as it hitting the fan and I have to leave the house, I'm probably going to leave out the house with an AR-15 because of those very reasons that I stated. They are very reliable. You do have to have extra maintenance, obviously, but I like the fact that I can, go between uppers and lowers and create different guns that way. But that is pretty much all I have. That is going to be my 3 guns and go again. Again, Glock 19, basic, not pretty, gets the job done. Accessories off the charts. Mossberg 598-1, 12 gauge shotgun, 8+1, very durable. Going to be much easier for me to find parts on this versus, let's say, a Winchester or one of those Turkish shotguns. I'm going to be able to find a spring, be able to find 4ends, flashlights, etc. Much easier on a Mossberg versus pretty much any other pump shotgun that's not named Remington. And an AR-15 is basically a Lego block for us adults. You know, I can build this thing to my liking. Still a project, as a matter of fact, because I want to take, like I said, take this off, get a real stock on it, get a light on it, get your hand rest, and pretty much be done with it. And also, I get a suppress on it, obviously. But I like AR-15s because you can just build them to your liking, and again, they're just so accurate, and there's just so much you can do with this thing. To me, this is basically the perfect, shit hit the fan weapon. I thought about a pistol caliber carbine, but what can a pistol caliber carbine do that this can't? I'm asking y'all in the comments, is there anything that a pistol caliber carbine can do versus an AR-15? In an apocalypse situation, you're not worried about over-penetration in an apocalypse situation. Nothing. So that's why I could not justify putting a pistol caliber carbine into this equation. But that is pretty much all I have, guys. I just wanted to, participate in my main man's, challenge here. I like these kind of challenges. I like, I got to go back and watch some of y'all videos. I haven't had opportunity, been busy, working my butt off, but today was MLK Day, took the day off and decided I want to do this video. But I'm not going to talk you guys heads off. I will catch you guys in the next video. Hope you enjoyed it. 2-8 up.